party. To we sweet, sweet mama salute. Now we all come together as well. For tomorrow, now we gon' make salute.
The country's parliament has enacted the Finance Act 2023. The bill seeks to provide for the imposition and alteration of taxes to give effect to the financial proposal of the government and to provide for other related matters. Deputy Leader of Opposition, Honorable Asante says increased taxation is not timely and not the best way to go, considering the economic situation in the country, as it will be a burden on the people.
There are certain elements that must be taken into consideration when we talk about taxation. Timeliness is a key factor when we talk about taxation. The time that the taxes are imposed must be taken into consideration. We must give that a very thorough look. Because now we consider what is the state of the economy, how the people are dealing with the burdens that they have. To increase taxes on the people. Because no matter what you say, when you talk about taxation, it's an increased burden on the people. Because the burden on the people only continue to bring more hardship. And I don't think increased taxation is the best way to go.
All right, telling another story, 6 days into the voter registration cards distribution exercise across the country, there have been concerns from the public over the quality, especially with regards to facial recognition of their photos, with some reporting that they have not been able to get their cards, and others say their cards have no photo, with over 1 million cards distributed so far within the last 4 days. The Commissioner for the National Electoral Commission, ECSL, Mohamed Kone, assured that they have taken up these concerns with the contractors.
About 1,200,532 cards have been collected nationwide. This accounts for about 80% of the centers reported. In other words, these details we have provided relate to about 80% of the centers we have opened. And two, based on the same parameters of centers reported as indicated above, we have 1,692 photoless cards, in other words, which are identified and collected. Registration of these cards had their photos taken to ensure that the pictures of them appear on the final voter registers. In other words, we have registrants whose photos were not captured, and therefore, as a result, we put in place a system where their photos will be captured during the distribution. So if you're one of those whose cards are not photoless, the center at the center they will take your photo, and we're going to give you the card as photoless. But eventually we'll place your photos on the voter register. So on the day of the polling, you go with the photoless card, and the attestation will give you, you will be able to vote.
And finally, the Director of Training of the SALONE Police, AIG Capri Camara, has assured that police officers will conduct themselves professionally in executing their duties and professionalism responsibilities in the June 24 general elections. It was assuring trainers from the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Law Enforcement Academy who were here in Sierra Leone to conduct a one-day training for Level 1 and Level 2 officers.
Help us in some of our management training courses in Level 1 and 2 and other courses across the ranks. And I know the knowledge that is being imparted to our personnel will be cascaded when they go back to their various divisions, will be cascaded to their colleagues and to their subordinates, so that during the forthcoming elections, the police will behave professionally in executing their duties and responsibilities. So, members of the public here will also appreciate the efforts of the police, as I know and I understand that they are going to behave professionally in executing their duties.
All right, that's all we have in our top stories this morning. Back to you, Zulai and Amadou in our main studios.
Many thanks, David Remy Wilson, for the top stories in the news this morning. This Wake Up Salone on AYV television on channel 33. We're on DSTV on channel 399. We're also streaming live online at www.ayvnews.com. In the show this morning, as Parliament closes in 14 days' time, we shall be evaluating the effectiveness of the 5th Parliament in terms of oversight, among other things.
And we shall also be discussing the successes and challenges of the distribution of the voter ID cards by ECSL across the country.
And our quote for today says, you are either running with a vision, going on a mission, or burning with a passion. If you do not belong to any of these, life is reduced to a burden. And it comes from David Olaniyi Oyedipo, a Nigerian preacher, Christian author, businessman, architect, and founder of the Living Faith Church Worldwide. Let's take a quick message from our sponsor, Hotel Commercial Bank. Will be back to start the discussion proper. Keep watching. This is Wake Up Salone.
Every day, the world wakes up to you. Millions of people are getting ready for you for shopping, travel expenses, utility bills, trade, and commerce. If we all have wishes, then what is your financial transaction wish?
To have a choice.
I'd like convenience.
I'd like to pay for goods and services on the go.
I'd like to pay utility bills on the go. Out of credit and data, buy some mobile top-up, still on my phone. Oops, lights out. I'll buy some ETSA, still on my phone.
I would like to make payment from my account to another account through my mobile phone.
As a chef for company, I would like my staff to receive their salaries through bulk e-payment without the risk of transporting cash.
Rokel Commercial Bank Simcopo does it all.
Rokel Commercial Bank Simcopo. Think of it as
money when you're close to home and when you're away from home for unexpected expenses, and money for those times when cash fails.
If you can dream it, you can become it. If you can imagine it, you can achieve it.
Rokel Commercial Bank Simcopo is all you need.
We are now days away from Sierra Leone's dates with destiny, the June 24th general election. In this defining moment in the history of Sierra Leone, here at AYV, we recognize the mantle thrust upon us to be the voice of the nation fully.
We take our task to ensure fair coverage seriously. We intend to honor our pledge to you, to be your home of all things credible, factual, and all times balanced news. Totally. This is our commitment to you. We have witnessed non-stop hours of groundbreaking broadcast in an effort that saw AYV rolled out 8 studios across Sierra Leone at Tar Hill, Aberdeen, Makeni, Kenema, Bow, and London, with almost 3 kilometers of coaxial cable laid connecting 4 ground teams that consume almost 100 liters of coffee from Chef Teina. The most important number is 2. Out of dozens of aspirants, only 2 men have emerged from the conventions in February as flag bearers of the APC and SLPP. Retired Brigadier Julius Madapio.
We have witnessed a lot of intrigues. Maybe this is the beginning. Defections and realignments have been plenty. We don't know if there's more to come.
The only thing you can guarantee right now.
mama salute. Now we all come together as one. For tomorrow, now we gon' make salute.
30% minimum quota in governance. Will that be achieved this June?
Well, one thing is clear. The nation has begun its conversation that will culminate a date with its destiny on the 24th of June. How much will change by then? And what shifts within the political landscape are we going to see?
Find out more on the nation's biggest and most trusted news source, AYV, on Channel 33, on DSTV Channel 399, on Radio 101.7 FM, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and of course on TikTok.
Yes, indeed. Only AYV. Because AYV, 9 Salone Sabi.
Welcome back. This is Wake Up Sierra Leone on AYV television and radio. Don't forget to send your comments and questions to AYV News Facebook page. We will assure you that we'll inculcate them into the program.
Definitely, we'll find time to read those comments or questions out on the issues we're discussing this morning. In our first segment, as today marks 6 days into the voter registration cards distribution exercise, there has been some concerns from the public over the quality, especially with regards facial recognition of their photos, with some reporting that they have not been able to get their cards, and others say their cards have no photo. So this morning, to talk more on this and the position of the Electoral Commission for Sierra Leone on these issues, we have Albert Masako, is the Director of External Relations at the Electoral Commission for Sierra Leone. Good morning, Albert, and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure having you. So I suppose you've been following the news lately, even social media, mainstream media, about concerns about the ID cards. But before we go into the concerns, let's establish so far, how has the process been with your own supervision, your own monitoring process across the country?
Yeah, thank you. The process has been going on fine by our estimation, because looking at day 4 of the 10-day process, we've collected over 1,500,000 cards. So that tells you, I mean, as we expected, the process is ongoing, and we are now on day 6 and hoping that by the 10th day, we would have collected as much as possible all the cards, but definitely it's not going to be possible.
The collection of this, the data you've got so far on the collection, it's across the country. Does it also entails those who are going to centers that are saying they're not getting their ID cards? Some people are saying they go with their details, they go with their slips, they say their names and their ID cards are not there. Do you also capture that? And those who are complaining that their cards the photos are not on their cards?
Well, we have daily summary of the issuing of ID cards, and it is across the country, 3,630 centers nationwide. And we are taking records. When we talk about collection, it involves all of these other categories, whether it is no photo card or whether some of the cards as now it's the vogue around. But whatever happens, that is the total collection of the cards so far, inclusive of all of these other. If you have not collected your card, you are not in that count. But as long as you've collected it, you are part of that number.
But people who go to these centers to collect their cards and they are told, no, your card is not here, your card is not ready yet, even with their slips, are they captured? How are they captured in the process?
Well, what we should try to note is that we have 6 scenarios in this issuing of ID cards. Scenario 1 is the normal case. When you come, you present your slip, your card is issued to you. But apart from that, we have other scenarios. The one that you're talking about is the relocation scenario. If you come to the center where you registered, but unfortunately, your card is not in that center, but it is somewhere else. So we go through the process wherein, of course, you're not going to get a card, but you're going to have an attestation that attestation is part of the process of collecting, because at the end of the day, you have an attestation which shows that we have taken responsibility, that we should have had your card at this center, but unfortunately, for some technical reason, your card is in another center somewhere. You have the card, but it is not in that particular center. So the fact that we are giving you attestation, the commission is acknowledging the fact that it is our responsibility. That's why we are giving you the attestation. So it is part of the count, because that attestation, eventually, your card, the attestation, the essence of the attestation is for the commission to acknowledge that indeed you are in this center, but because your card is somewhere else, we are going to bring that card back to this center. Then we give you the attestation. So you are part of the count.
So how will they be getting their cards? Or they will just use their attestation to go to the
attestation is valid. Yes, the attestation is valid, but the commission will come out with a statement with regards. Your card is printed, but it is somewhere, but the commission is taking responsibility. That is the reason why we are giving the attestation. So the attestation is also equally important, like for the no photo card. In the situation of the no photo, which is another scenario, would give you the no photo ID plus the attestation. And the attestation goes a long way, even on election day. Let's assume we cannot find you, don't come any longer. Let's even assume the commission wants to give you your card after you've been relocated, you are not available. But on election day, the attestation card is going to serve as a legal document to go through the process. But again, what we should note is that in as much as we appreciate the concerns of the cards, but the most important thing is the voter register, the register of voters. Every other Sierra Leonean, as long as you are registered, your name and details are on the register. That is what is more important. The card is just a tool to make the process move faster. Let's assume in a scenario where somebody does not even come with his or her card. That does not mean the person is not going to vote. As long as your name and your details are on the register, that is what is key and important in this situation.
Okay, to make the process smooth, the ECSL trained a huge number of staff to help distribute these ID cards. And for now, apart from the no photo and the other skirmishes, we have seen a lot of good sides of those who were trained. So let's talk about that training.
Well, when we are in electoral operations, we cascade trainings. The electoral commission and management, we train at the higher cadre. Then from there, the training goes to regional level, district level, and locality level. So we train each and every staff, whether commissioner and staff and other staff, talking about, in this scenario, ad hoc staff. So everyone is subjected to the trainings. Now it is the aspect of implementing some of what has been trained. I mean, the type of training that they've gone through. That one, it is left with individual ability and how they cope with some of these trainings. But we want to believe a good number of them are doing the work. That is why we have 2 of them. We train them for them to know about the procedures that is involved. But of course, unfortunately, some may not go through or abide by some of these procedures. But generally, majority of them do. But for the training, of course, we do adequate training. Okay. But it is left with an individual how that person will manifest such training.
The reason why I asked was that because one of my colleagues went to, where he registered and he was given a slip, as you've made mention, and it was written on the slip, go to another center, and a particular center was not indicated. So just for clarity, for those who will find themselves in similar situation, they go to these staff that have been trained, I suppose, and they just write there, go to another center. The centers are plenty.
Well, we have various scenarios. I'm not sure about that particular scenario because there is nothing like go to another center. We have 2 types of scenarios in this circumstance that you're talking about. One is when you are relocated, meaning you are going to be removed from the center that you have not registered. You are being relocated to come to your center, because if you are in your center, your card will be given if the card is there. But if you are in that center where you registered, but the card is not there, we will not tell you to go to the center where you did not register. So that is outside of that. But again, we have another scenario wherein somebody mistakenly comes to a center. That person did not register in that center. If you check the slip of the registrant, that person did not register. No need to write. Just politely inform the person that probably you registered not at Akibobet primary school. Maybe you registered at Rokel. Can you please go to Rokel? Because based upon your slip, you did not register here. I'm sure that is the scenario. But there is no need to write on that slip that go to that center. The registrants, the CI, the card issuer, or the assistant, they can easily just tell the individual, maybe you forgot that this is the center where you are of the opinion that you registered, but this is not the center. So that is the likely scenario that may have happened.
Before Lamana comes in, I know a lot of people want to know about, the picture quality of the cards and the like. My attention was drawn to the biometric aspect of these cards. And when I spoke to, I think it was the head of communications also at the ECSL, he made mention that yes, there will be some certain features in these ID cards. And yesterday again, people were discussing the features, the biometric aspects. When you scan it, there's not much of information. So what's the importance of that, biometric feature?
Well, when, of course, the card has a lot of security features, which includes biometric, and some you cannot even see. But let me demystify this viewpoint that as soon as you scan, you can see the information. You don't have our database, so you cannot see the information. If it is the Electoral Commission that has its database, when we scan the card, it takes us directly to our database. But if you don't have our database, even if you scan, it will only indicate to you that this card can be scanned.
So that feature is for the ECSL?
It is for the ECSL. It is not for outsiders.
Okay.
But if you put your scanner, it will read it that indeed this ID card, this registration card can be scanned. But because you don't have our database, it will only give you a blank information. But if it's the ECSL, if we scan it, then it takes us directly to our database. So that is the misunderstanding that people get, that as soon as you scan it, you go straight to our database. Unless we give you, we cannot give anyone the right. The only right that we give citizens is for you as an individual, because you are using your voter ID number to scan, then it will take you to our database. But I cannot scan your information, then I see it in my database, which I don't even have. So it is a form of a security measure. It is only you as an individual.
And some people are saying it's taking them either to a website or an SMS platform system. What's the significance? What is there any use of it for us, the voters? Say I have this, it's the barcode is there, I can scan it. What is it?
In the first place, it is a security feature. Then secondly, it is for the Electoral Commission to undertake its activity. If there is a dispute, let's assume there is a dispute about a card, then the Electoral Commission can scan it and confirm that this card is valid. But it is not for an outsider. Now, coming to the issue of one thing about Google, you put any number, it will take you somewhere. And if you scan the barcode, it has numbers and features. It will take you anywhere. Because your scanner, the phone that individuals have, don't have the NEC database. Definitely, when you scan it, it will take you somewhere that you will imagine where you are. But the fact of the matter is, if it is the Electoral Commission that scans it, it takes that scan message directly to the database of the Electoral Commission.
So the barcode is more useful to ECSL than us, the holders of the card.
It is useful to ECSL. It is also useful to an individual.
In what sense?
Individual.
How?
For
because
example,
if it's not taking me anywhere, how is it?
No, that's why we have the web-based situations where you have your number. You can key in your number. It will take you to our database. We don't want to have any Jack and Jill to take anyone's number and just imagine that you can go into the database. You only have one access. That is your own number. It is the Electoral Commission. If you come to the Electoral Commission, then the Electoral Commission will lead you. That is the reason why I said, if there is a dispute about a particular card, the Electoral Commission will address the dispute to state that, okay, we're going to scan this card. Let's assume we are in a polling station. Then there's a dispute about the card. The Electoral Commission will scan the card. Then it will take us to the database. They will confirm that for security reasons, you may not know, but this card is valid, but not for any other individual. Or else we will be going against privacy laws for anyone to scan anyone's document and you have access to those information.
But I can be able to scan my own card and have access to my data.
No, you don't have access to data. You can only have access to the ECSL's data when you use your own voter number.
That is what I'm saying. So if I scan and put my voter number,
No, you are not going to use that. What you use it, we have our application. The 383, you can do that on AfriCell or through Google Play Store. We have our applications. You can go there and put your own voter number. Then it will take you because you are taking responsibility. But you cannot just take your phone. Your phone is not connected to our database. So if you scan that barcode, it will take you somewhere else. It is when the Electoral Commission gives you the equipment, you scan, then it will take you to the ECSL database, but not your phone, because your phone is not connected to our database. We don't want 3 million phones to be connected to our database. The only connection that you have to our database is when you have your own voter ID number. That's your individual personal code. It's what you can use and key in, then it will take you directly to your own information and no other one's else information.
So what the idea of having the barcode on the card?
It is a security feature. Like as I said, one, it cannot be duplicated, because even if you duplicate it, it is unique to only that card. If someone duplicates it, then there is a dispute. If the commission comes and scans it, it will tell you this is fake. So it is a security feature. That's the essence of it. It is a security feature, and there are so many other security features.
Okay, let's talk about the card a little bit. There's been this discussion about, laminating the card. People think the texture is too light, and in order for them to be able to keep it in a better way, in a safer way, before the elections, they need to laminate it. And there's been arguments about if you laminate it, you'll cover the barcode and all of that. What is the ECSL saying?
The card is already laminated. The card is self-laminated. So no need to go again and laminate it. And again, let me make this point clear about the issue of the type of materials that are used for the production of the card. We are in a world wherein we have different types of materials that are being used, especially when we are talking about plastic materials, environmental friendly type of materials. The card has the type of materials that we can consider to be environmentally friendly. Some people are saying it has to be hard, it has to be. Then it's like we are polluting the environment. For us, as far as the Commission is concerned, the texture of the card is very much effective. No need to put hardened materials on it. More or less, you are destroying our environment. For us, it already has the laminate. So no need to put further materials or information, or other materials that may be hazardous to our environment. As it is flexible, yes, but it has all the details that is necessary for it to be considered as a standard card.
Can it be laminated or not? Or
no need, because it is already laminated. No need, it is already laminated. There is no need for that.
So how about those who've laminated theirs as well? Is it still valid? Can they still use it?
No, your card is your card. Your card is your card. I'm only saying there is no need for you to laminate it because it is already laminated. Because the type of material that is being used, it is appropriate for the 21st century.
Okay. There's been this. July was asking about the photo itself. Yesterday the Chief Electoral Commissioner actually mentioned that the Commission is as well concerned about the quality of the photos. Did the Commission receive these cards and raise these concerns before the distribution, or you're only raising these concerns because the public, the reaction from the public?
So even before the reaction, of course, let me reiterate what the Chief Electoral Commissioner said. As a commission, we are concerned. Like every other Sierra Leonean, even myself personally, I'm concerned because you want to have the best. Be that as it may, the commission, of course, has communicated with the service provider, the vendors. That's the reason why the Chief Electoral Commissioner made it very clear that in as much as we are concerned, but we have procurement processes, and we are going to go back to the vendor for them to explain to us. The people of Sierra Leone, some people, others have said there has been this concern, and the commission acknowledges that. And moving forward, we may have to hear from the vendors, then the commission will come out again and talk to
Talking about vendor, is it I was checking up the contract or the company. So where were these cards printed?
Well, the cards were printed in Greece, out of Sierra Leone, offshore. But of course, the vendor has a local partner. The vendor has a local partner. The issue is the most responsive bidder actually got the contract. we went through ECSL went through the process, through the international bidding process, though restrictive. Out of the 9 companies that were contacted, 2 responded, and of the 2, the most responsive actually won the bid. But of course, like the law states, even if you are an international company, you must have local partners. And there is a local partner which we are communicating with, and with all of these concerns that have been raised, I'm sure there are also Sierra Leoneans. They are seeing what is happening, they are realizing what is happening. I'm sure if they are Sierra Leoneans, they may also have taken their cards, so they know. So
was it the responsibility of the commission to do background check on this company, or it's or the local partner? Because I have actually checked the name of the company that is put in that press release from Inform Liquors or so, Inform P Liquors Holdings. It's a Romanian company based in Romania, and I could imagine they printed this in Greece. Did you do background check on this company before?
The issue is the commission looked at the most responsive. Of course, it is part of the process. Let me make this point clear that there is no art to find the mine's construction in the face. Even if you may have done background check, the fact of the matter is this is where we are. It does not mean because you have not done background check or because you have done background check.
But that could help the but we are not saying. No, but what I'm saying is I could imagine giving a contact. I can recall in 2018, Laxton or so, we're giving a contract to print our ID card. And if you check them out, you see they've done similar work for other countries. So that is what I'm asking. So
no, the issue of, I want us to state it clearly that indeed background check was done.
Okay, and you were satisfied with the company?
They won the bid. Because when you put out a bid, companies would have to apply. There are various specifications you go through, background checks and all of such. That's the reason why I'm stating there is no art to find the mine's construction. Somebody can win a bid, but along the line, so those are the concerns that the commission has, and we're going to bring forward so that this company, especially the local partners, they will be responsible for the actions based upon their response.
I see, Zula, I want to ask a question, but quickly, were samples done before the actual printing? Say, this is the quality.
Yes, indeed.
And they were colored as well.
Yes, and some of the cards, not all the cards are black and white.
80% of the cards,
we
over
agree.
80% of the cards.
Samples were sent, and the samples that were sent were colored. Just like some people who have collected their cards, they've collected colored cards. But of course, we are concerned about the black and white because our expectation, according to the bid documents, all of the cards should be colored and not some black and white, some colored. We are concerned. But the sample cards were actually colored.
Okay. Let me come in again. These are all learning process. It gives you, the platform to go back to the drawing board and see where, errors went wrong. And I want to draw your attention to I think it's over a year now, the Gambia electoral body came to ECSL to, do some fact finding and checks to ensure that both countries, sister countries, are working in the same direction. So in terms of a country coming to Sierra Leone, and now of course, pictures have gone all over the media. What would you have to say as Sierra Leone as an election body in making or putting steps ahead so that, some unfortunate incidents like this do not reoccur?
This we call it within our electoral balance, we call it electoral realities. You can do all of your plans, but at the end of the day, what comes out, these are the realities. There is no 100% electoral operation. It's never going to be 100% perfect. We may have some hitches and some concerns. Now, coming to lessons learned, we have learned our lessons. I've been in the commission for quite a period. This is my 4th cycle. 2007, we did learn lessons. 2012, we learned lessons. 2018, we learned lessons. Even 2023, we'll continue to learn our lessons. But that does not mean we are still, this process is still not conclusive because we are yet, the company is yet to get to us. So I'd rather we wait after we would have looked at all of these. But of course, we've learned our lessons. And from the lessons that we've learned, we are going to engage, which the commission has already started with the company. But moving forward, we'll now take all of these things on board. That does not mean in 2007, lessons that were learned. I mean, we did not have issues again in 2012. same again as in 2018. So as we move every electoral cycle, we have different scenarios, different challenges. But of course, the fact that people from Gambia, our counterpart, they came to Sierra Leone, they are aware of the fact that we have done so much in terms of elections administration. They admire us. I mean, they will learn from us. That does not mean we may not have our own challenges. I mean, there's no perfect democracy in all over the world. Even where you go to learn from the experiences of people, they will always tell you about their challenges also. I'm sure this may be one of the challenges.
There's an organization, they're called One Family People. It's well, they're victims of, different issues. They reached out to us and they were concerned that the ECSL, did not give them preference. Some of them are blind, some of them are crippled, unfortunately. And what, plans have you made for them, regardless of all of this that are happening? Together with other partners, I'm sure you have to work with other people for that.
We appreciate the concerns of that group, but of course, I want to believe the ECSL should be the best place to go and make such concerns. But let me go back to what the ECSL has done over the years. Since the enactment of the Disability Act, the ECSL is one of the few institutions that has institutionalized inclusion, meaning bringing together minorities and all other groups. For the fact that from a table, a unit, we now have a department of electoral inclusion. That tells you the length that the Commission has gone in addressing disability issues. We have a lot of engagements with disability issues. Besides, the law makes provision for that. But again, coming to the issue of we are not giving them, well, I don't know what they mean by that. We have the responsibility to conduct elections. We cannot give you what we don't have, or we cannot give you what you think we should give you, because our role is to conduct elections. And what we do in the conduct of election is to provide the environment. Even if you are a person living with disability, you are also a Sierra Leonean like any other Sierra Leonean. But if we engage, we are able to understand what you want, but we cannot give you what we don't have to give you. What we have is for us to just conduct election. But that besides, when we talk about disability, we have mapped out our centers, those that are disability unfriendly. Then the Commission is looking at what is to be done. For example, providing plants, ramps. That is what we can do. We cannot go beyond that. Meaning, if you are a person living with disability, we can create a special. Mind you, we are conducting elections. Every Sierra Leonean is equal. If you create special preference for a particular class of persons, then you are biased because you are conducting elections equal. Everyone is equal before the law as far as elections are concerned. However, what the Commission is doing is to ensure that just as the able persons have access to our polling centers, our processes, they also would have access. But again, that brings to mind the level of infrastructure that we have as a country. It is the wish of the Commission to have interpreters, sign language interpreters. How many sign language interpreters do we have as a nation? So it should be a national conversation and not just ECSL. Some of these centers that we go within the year, we only go there 4 times to register, to collect our cards, to vote. But these centers live forever. People never talk about these centers that they are disability unfriendly. But when it comes to election, they want the Electoral Commission to solve the problems. After election, the problem is still there. So what we do is when we engage with schools, with court barriers, we inform these persons that ensure that disability issues become a daily matter for discussion. It is not only when election comes. Election comes and it goes, then people will say, okay, let's forget about elections. Then everybody's okay. But when election comes, then disability organizations will start to put the blame on the Electoral Commission. We can do what we are able to do. That is providing plans, but we cannot build an office. We don't own offices. We use public spaces. So these public spaces should be made available or accessible to persons with disabilities, and not the Electoral Commission doing the work of institutions that own these public spaces. So it's really unfortunate that the blame is put on us, but we explain to them so that they can understand that we do what we are able to do. We have assistive devices. The laws and even the procedures that we put together would help. For instance, you cannot stand in a queue if you are a person living with disability. When you come, we'll give you easy access for you to collect your card or to vote. That's what we can do. But we cannot say because you are living with disability, we can give you money to contest, because everyone is going to contest. It is the winner. So we cannot give preferential treatment outside of the basics that we do, because we are conducting elections.
Okay, let's take some messages. We've got some on our Facebook page. Let's see. There's a question here I want to read. It's from Fode Bundu. It says, if the card is laminated, would it be still capable to be scanned with the lamination on it? If the answer is no, have you tried to scan the laminated card to see if the scanned barcode works? That's a question from Fode Bundu.
Okay, I'm having some internet connection.
Okay, Alaji Amakibe says, I really don't understand all the controversy surrounding the voter's card. It's just meant for voting purposes. I think people want to use it in place of national identity card, and that is why the whole outcry. George Oil says it's unfortunate for Mr. Masakoi to sit in the studio and talk about the laminated card. Poor work done on this voter's ID card. You guys just scam the citizens. I'll read a few more. Swissman says, all this explanation is not important to the uneducated Sierra-Leoneans who went to register and wanted to express their rights as citizens. What to expect from the electoral bodies to sign a proper contract with the company to manufacture a biometric plastic voter's card for the people, a card that will resist water when there is rainfall.
Okay, let me come in. I have a better connection now. Yusuf Maulana says, even WAEC barcode gives you your personal details, while the voter's ID card cannot. Sylvia Press says, initially, we were told that the voter's ID will be multi-purpose, but the message we are getting from the ECSL boss is that as soon as we're done with the voting process, the card becomes absolute. If ECSL keeps on giving us different stories about the election process, how can we believe what they're telling us?
Edwina John says, QR code should be accessible to everyone. It's not a security feature, but a source of information hidden in the form of pixels.
Yes.
Abubakar Rashid says, the contractor has completed his job and they have delivered. Why is the ECSL boss saying that he'll get back to the contractor? It is like the stable is open and the horse has bolted away. Abubakar Rashid is asking, I would like to have a clarification on the company that won the contract, the country origin of the business. The final one I'll take is again from Esmondo Williams. It said, a QR code, short for quick response code, is an array of black and white square of pixels set in a grid that stores data for a machine to read. A smartphone or camera can quickly process the information contained in the QR code specific arrangement of pixels, making it a convenient way to store and access data. The final one is from Aliu Ba. It says, AYV, please ask Mr. Masakoi that why the commission has not submitted the voter register to the political parties as was claimed by some political parties. Those are the comments or questions you could take. Albert, you want to react?
Yes, let me start with some clarifications with regards multi-purpose ID card. You know, a lot of people are mixing it up between the ECSL and the NCRA. We don't even have ID cards. We have voter registration cards. It is for the purposes of the conduct of elections and any other activity regarding that. Multi-purpose ID card, which is the national ID card, is for NCRA. What the CC, the Chief Electoral Commissioner, said yesterday was, our card is just for the purpose of the conduct of elections. That brings me to the issue of the appreciation from the public. People want the voter ID card because it has been used before to conduct so many other businesses, for banking activities, for other monetary transactions, which we appreciate. But sincerely, it is not for that purpose. It is really not for that. Now, coming to the issue of the QR code and all of such. The database, the ECSL database, is not out in the open. So even if you use your phone to scan it, you will not have access to it until the ECSL says our database is now in the public. Then when you scan, it will take you there. But because it is not, then no need for you to do it. Now, coming to the issue of the voter register still not yet been given to the political parties. We've held series of engagement with the political parties. Time immemorial, the commission has always given the register. I want to believe this is the last activity after this one, because we are talking about relocation cases. That is, persons who went to collect their cards, but their cards were not found. Probably their cards were in other centers. Until we can fix the relocation, then we are not done with the register yet. Mind you, we have the final register, meaning no one is going to be added. No one is going to be reduced or removed from the register. But we can do placement. For example, like relocation. If somebody is in a particular center, then that person has to be relocated. It is like +1 - 1. You are going to be removed from this center, which is -1, and relocated to another center, which is +1. We cannot take, until we finish this exercise, then of course we've told the political parties that we're going to give them a soft copy of the register. Let them, don't be worried. In 2007, we did it. In 2012, we did it. In 2018, we did it. Even 2023, we're going to do the same. That is giving political parties, because that is the weapon that they're going to use so that they can follow. Let them be rest assured the Electoral Commission will give them. But until we finalize this card distribution, we are in relocation cases are put into their proper perspective, meaning the centers that they are supposed to be. We are not going to add any new registrants anyway. Then we would give the political parties.
Are we going to have the same company that printed these ID cards to print the voting slips, the voting papers? I could imagine if.
Oh, you mean the ballots?
The ballot papers. I could imagine if photos are not visible now. How
the commission has started procurement. It is tender, open tender. It is open to bidders to bid. I cannot say, probably that particular company is not even a company that prints ballots. I cannot say. But what is important is for every activity, when we want to hire vehicles, we advertise. When we want to print registration cards, we advertise. When we want to print ballots, we advertise. So it is left with the company.
So I could imagine, again, if we're going to print ballots and we have dark photos of people who will be on the ballot for the presidency, then we come again.
I will assure you, we will not get to that, because from the previous elections, we've had very clean, very good ballots.
We've had same with ID cards. We've had same with ID cards.
I don't want us to shift the
No, I'm just
discourse.
saying, because
let us not shift the discourse, because it has happened to voter cards. There's a possibility that it will happen to ballot papers.
It didn't happen in 2018. We had very clear voter cards. I still have mine.
But again, in 2018, a lot of people criticized again the card. The cards are laminated.
Exactly.
People always criticize, which we appreciate.
So I'm just asking, what is the commission doing to address situations like this? She asked same earlier. What are we doing? These are very critical issues, and we are less than 3 months to elections.
We have what we refer to as artwork. When we develop ballot papers, we have artwork. It is from the artwork we develop the New York candidates. Even before the polls, you see the New York candidates sample ballots. We have sample ballots. So even from the sample ballots, it will tell you that we will not degenerate into such situations. Be rest assured, I'm not sure we're going to go into that. I don't know the company. Of course, the Electoral Commission will advertise, bidders will bid. Then the most responsive will definitely be the one that will do the printout. But for the ballots, because we are going to have sample ballots,
the assurances will not.
Of course, the sample ballot is exact as what you're going to see. And we've had sample ballots for all the elections in 2018, even 2012, we've had sample ballots. Even during campaigns, that's what political parties, candidates use, the sample ballot to do their campaigns. And the sample ballot simply tells you, this is the sample of what you're going to meet.
The collection of voter identification cards will end on the 17th, right?
Yes.
So far with the process, is the commission satisfied with how people are turning out to pick up their
based
cards?
on statistical data, yes, we are satisfied, because just 4 days we've collected 1.5 1.5 million Sierra Leoneans have collected their cards. We want to believe today, which is day 6, it has gone up. But close to, I'm sure, the last 2 days, the commission will review. Then based upon that, the commission will take a decision, which it is not likely that it will extend. That besides, even after the closure of the centers, the card distribution will move now to district level because the commission is mindful of people who are in the diaspora.
Exactly.
Not
I have
everyone,
people who are
Oh yeah, talking point platform, TTPTV. Oh yeah, Unale we pledge, we love and loyalty to we sweet, sweet mama salute. Now we all come together as well. For tomorrow, now we go make salute.
Recognize the mantle thrust upon us to be the voice of the nation fully.
We take our task to ensure fair coverage seriously. We intend to honor our pledge to you, to be your home of all things credible, factual, and all times balanced news. Totally, this is our commitment to you. We have witnessed non-stop hours of groundbreaking broadcast in an effort that saw AYV rolled out 8 studios across Sierra Leone, at Tar Hill, Aberdeen, Makeni, Kenema, Bow, and London, with almost 3 kilometers of coaxial cable laid, connecting 4 ground teams that consume almost 100 liters of coffee from Chef Teina. The most important number is 2. Out of dozens of aspirants, only 2 men have emerged from the conventions in February as flag bearers of the APC and SLPP. Retired Brigadier Julius Madabio and Dr. Samuel Matthew Wilson Tamara.
So far, we have witnessed a lot of intrigues. Maybe this is the beginning. Defections and realignments have been plenty. We don't know if there's more to come.
The only thing you can guarantee right now is that your home of credible, factual, and balanced news and analysis, AYV Media Empire, will bring you every twist and turn of this amazing race in full color and in high definition.
We shall have a comprehensive look at the developments around the election as we count down to Sierra Leone State with destiny.
Women clamored and got a law that provides 30% minimum quota in governance. Will that be achieved this June?
Well, one thing is clear. The nation
We are now days away from Sierra Leone's dates with destiny, the June 24th general election.
All right, thank you very much, Zulai and Amadou. Well, in our top stories this morning, the country's parliament has enacted the Finance Act 2023. The bill seeks to provide for the imposition and alteration of taxes to give effect to the financial proposal of the government and to provide for other related matters. Deputy Leader of Opposition, Honorable Asante says increased taxation is not timely and not the best way to go, considering the economic situation in the country, as it will be a burden on the people.
There are certain elements that must be taken into consideration when we talk about taxation. Timeliness is a key factor when we talk about taxation. The time that the taxes are imposed must be taken into consideration. We must give that a very thorough look. Because now we consider what is the state of the economy, how the people are dealing with the burdens that they have. To increase taxes on the people. Because no matter what you say, when you talk about taxation, it's an increased burden on the people. Because the burden on the people will only continue to bring more hardship. And I don't think increased taxation is the best way to go.
All right, and another story, 6 days into the voter registration cards distribution exercise across the country, there have been concerns from the public over the quality, especially with regards to facial recognition of their photos, with some reporting that they have not been able to get their cards, and others say their cards have no photo, with over 1 million cards distributed so far within the last 4 days. The Commissioner for the National Electoral Commission, ECSL, Mohamed Kone, assured that they have taken up these concerns with the contractors.
About 1,200,532 cards have been collected nationwide. This accounts for about 80% of the centers reported. In other words, these details we have provided relate to about 80% of the centers we have opened. And two, based on the same parameters of centers reported as indicated above, we have 1,692 photoless cards, in other words, which are identified and collected. Registration of these cards had their photos taken to ensure that the pictures of them appear on the final voter registers. In other words, we have registrants whose photos were not captured, and therefore, as a result, we put in place a system where their photos will be captured during the distribution. So if you're one of those whose cards are not photoless, the center at the center, they will take your photo, and we're going to give you the card as photoless. But eventually, we'll create your photos on the voter register. So on the day of the polling, you go with the photoless card, and the attestation will give you, you will be able to vote.
And finally, the Director of Training of the Sierra Leone Police, AIG Capri Camara, has assured that police officers will conduct themselves professionally in executing their duties and professionalism responsibilities in the June 24 general elections. It was assuring trainers from the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Law Enforcement Academy who were here in Sierra Leone to conduct a one-day training for Level 1 and Level 2 officers.
Help us in some of our management training courses in Level 1 and 2 and other courses across the ranks. And I know the knowledge that is being imparted to our personnel will be cascaded when they go back to their various divisions, will be cascaded to their colleagues and to their subordinates, so that during the forthcoming elections, the police will behave professionally in executing their duties and responsibilities. So, members of the public here will also appreciate the efforts of the police, as I know and I understand that they are going to behave professionally in executing their duties.
All right, that's all we have in our top stories.
Many thanks to David Remy Wilson for the news summary. Don't forget to send your thoughts and comments to our AYV News Facebook page. We will definitely factor them in. Now, in our final segment, since its promulgation in 2018 to now when it will be dissolving, the Fifth Parliament has passed several acts, agreements, and treaties, but how effective was the Fifth Parliament in terms of oversight, especially when the leader of government business in 2020 was warning committee chairs to present their reports? Does that mean committees hardly present oversight reports? Well, this morning to discuss this, we have Honorable Ibrahim Tawakonte from the Sierra Leone People's Party and Honorable Musa Fofana from the C4C. Definitely, we're expecting to be joined by Honorable Abdul Karim Kamara from the APC. They're here to answer these questions as we assess the 5 years of the Fifth Parliament. Welcome, gentlemen. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Certainly, it's been a long ride, 5 years. First of all, let's start with your experiences. Let me start with you, Honorable Tawa. 5 years. Are you pleased with what you have been doing personally in terms of the general aspect? Personally, are you okay? Are you pleased with what you have been doing?
I feel satisfied. I feel like I have lived up to the expectation of myself and my people. I feel I am among a number of 132 members of parliament who assumed responsibility and subscribed the oath as provided in the third schedule of defending and protecting the Constitution of Sierra Leone and of upholding the dictates of transparency, accountability, and good governance. I think in terms of what my constituents would feel about my leadership in the last 5 years, it would be a glowing 100% because I will tell you, in the last 5 years, I have been that MP that has expressed the roles, responsibilities as stated in the Constitution, even beyond what the Constitution did not delineate. So for me, I feel what I have done personally as a person in my constituency is setting the standards high, raising the bar, and in Parliament, in terms of the three sacred functions given to members of Parliament, I think I have represented my constituents well. I think I've been able to speak their minds, have been able to express their views and their thoughts in Parliament, and I've been able to stand in between the lines of partisanship and nationalism. I've been able to stand up to my party. I've been able to talk about issues that nobody has ever dared talk about in the past. I've talked about, I've been a member of Parliament. I've asked Parliament for the first time since the start of the Second Republic in 1996 to the Fifth Parliament, from the first Parliament to the Fifth. I've been the only member of Parliament I've asked from the government bench, asked for a debate of the Auditor General's report. That is unheard of. So it shows that what I've done in Parliament in the last 5 years, in terms of lawmaking, in terms of representation, in terms of oversight, as the shortest serving chairman of the Committee on Transparency and Accountability, I introduced a very new concept and a very new oversight methodology in Parliament. Okay. I gave the public a clear view of what we are doing. My oversight committee sitting at Transparency and Accountability Committee were viewed live by everybody as it was proceeding. So in doing all of that, I think I've done a lot to make me satisfied and feel that, yes, I've represented my people.
Yes, over to you. In terms of self-assessment, how do you feel 5 years down the line?
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, the challenge is a well-appreciated one, looking at my background, because I came from the NGO world. And of course, I was also a business person after leaving the NGO world for 10 years. And when our party was considering how we can organize and come up with a party from the Kono district angle, even though a national one, I was chosen by my community to represent them when they even aware that I'm not a politician. They said, yes, we will support you for you to be our new member of parliament. Well, for my background, I have learned so fast. And in my 2 years in parliament, I was fortunate to be the chairman for local government committee. And we achieved a lot because lot of new innovations we are brought in the committee where we worked with the ministry, with the councils and the donor partners and the PMUs around EU. We were fortunate to secure a huge fund for 4 councils, something like 25 million euros. And I served for 1 year. And after that, I was taken to Economic Development Planning Committee as chairman, where I have served for almost 3 years. And I must say, for an opposition MP to champion government national development plan, you know, which has to also do with international documents like the Sustainable Development Goals, the AU Agenda 2063, for 3 years as an opposition MP is a huge challenge, but also under the kind of leadership we have, you know, Honorable Simon Silamina, I think we have delivered so well in Parliament around debates, yes, and each and every bill that has been passed in that well, which we have contributed to, we always align those bills to the National Medium-Term Plan, because this is our national document. And it's only through this national document they can also align us to the international documents that we are talking about, treaties, you know, so that at least as a country we can have a data around what we have achieved so far. And I mean, the challenges we have, so we can at least think about the future.
Yeah, gentlemen, we have been joined by Abdul Karim Kamara from the APC. Before you walked in, we have been speaking on self-assessment 5 years down the line. Do you feel satisfied with what you have been doing? Are you pleased?
Thank you very much. For me, I have different opinions from our colleagues there as members of parliament. It's a 5 years in parliament of new discovery in the world in the world of parliament and in the administration of parliament in general. Yes, we've made good laws. Yes, we've had challenging moments, but there are certain things that underpin our progress as a parliament, and some of these things we don't want to repeat in the 6th parliament. And there are certain developments, some abrogation of laws within parliament that were very, very bad for our democratic dispensation and for the smooth running of parliament. I'll give you a critical one. And in the 5th parliament, one of the things that was done was the suspension of the standing orders and the changing of the name from majority to minority to something different that was against the rules. In the standing order of parliament, which is our guiding rules, to change, you don't suspend the standing the SOs for a whole year. You suspend the SOs for a particular day. That is why always you hear the deputy whip will come up and say we will suspend SO5 too. So the business of the day will continue. But in this parliament, we have a situation wherein a whole part of the SOs was suspended, the names were changed without having the standing order committee. It is the standing order committee that is charged with the responsibility to bring up issues that should be amended before they are tabled into the world of parliament. But in this dispensation, we saw situations wherein it was just cancelled and they did what they wanted. And again, one of the things I not want to say I regret being a member of parliament in this 5th parliament. One of the things I did not like is the continuous situation in which the speaker will come to the world and he promised certain things to be presented and they are not presented. One of the things that was so bad is for 5 good years, the speaker continuously promised the people of Sierra Leone that will debate the audit service report, which is basically the demands of the people. And for 5 good years, this parliament could not even debate one audit service report. Don't tell me it was not done in other parliaments. In this parliament, the speaker promised us, motion over motion, the speaker continuously tells us we are going to have the audit service report. Another thing that was missing in this parliament is our oversight reports were never presented to the world for debate. They were meant for the shelves, and they did not promulgate, push the formation of new laws. That was also bad in this parliament. Another thing in this very parliament, again, I'll highlight is the fact that the voice of opposition in calling ministers, the executive, to account was also reduced to the minimum 0. I remember Honorable Tawa will be our witness and Honorable Fofana. In the world, we've called for the Ministry of Finance to come even before the COVID to tell us what was the readiness of our government in addressing the economic challenges that we are going to come. We've called them to come on the issue of the new currency that was going to be brought into use at the time, to tell us, first of all, what was the cost of the production, what are the plans for withdrawal of the old loans and everything. We spent almost 6 to 7 months before the bank governor was called into. The people who called him, he was called to come and give us accounts as members of parliament. Rather, when it finally came to parliament, it was sent to the committee. One of the challenges, again, we had in this parliament is most of the oversight committees were not effective at all. At the first 2 years, Honorable Tawa could be a witness, even funds that were meant to be disbursed to oversight committees were very, very much, they were delayed. They had to pick and choose which committees to have resources, which one is not to have resources. We had a situation in which the opposition for one whole session of parliament were debarred from being members of committees and heading committees.
Honorable, that is actually what we're coming to discuss, the issue of, oversight function. And I just want to get it clear. Zulai asked whether you're satisfied being a member of parliament these 5 years. Are you satisfied? Do you feel fulfilled, as Honorable Tawa and Honorable Fofana have said here?
Looking at the things I have highlighted, I'll tell you, for what I have done for my people, I am satisfied that I have done well for my people. But for national services, and for the things I was expecting to have done as a member of parliament, I am very much dissatisfied.
Okay.
Parliament did not create the enabling environment for us as members of parliament to freely express our views. I have been one MP, and almost every day I debate, I am expected to go under serious attack.
Okay,
you're not giving the leverage to
express the views of the people. We'll come back to you to continue the conversation. But let me come over to Honorable Tawa again. The issue about oversight function, which is one of your responsibilities as members of parliament. Earlier when you started, you spoke about how you did it when you were chair of one of the committees, and even some of your meetings were broadcast live on TV as well. In your own estimation, do you think this parliament, this 5th parliament, have done enough, in your responsibility of oversight in the country?
Can I start by making some few clarifications? The allocations of committee in parliament is purely in line with the principle stated in the standing order and in the constitution. It has to be on the strength of the political party. And looking at the current parliamentary setup, you realize that the two dominant parties are APC and SLPP. Hence, most of the committees, critical committees, are either headed by the APC or the SLPP. Take, for example, President Bio had 2 critical visions, in fact 3, but 2 major. One was to roll out fee-based educational system and enhance quality and introduce new other facilities into the educational system. Second was to diversify the economy. And in the economic diversification process, you realize that 3 ministries are critical: agriculture, fisheries and marine resources, and tourism. And in these 3 ministries, 2 are headed by the opposition. In parliament, the oversight committee, the committee on tourism, the chairman and deputy is from the APC. The committee on agriculture, the chairman and deputy is from the APC. The committee on foreign affairs, the chairman and deputy is from the APC. The committee on labor and social security, the chairman and deputy is from the APC. The committee on gender, the chairman and deputy is from the APC. The committee on water resources, the chairman and deputy is from the APC. The committee on youth affairs, the chairman and deputy is from the APC. There are other committees. There are about 9 committees that the APC lead in parliament. So the effectiveness of oversight, especially parliamentary oversight, hinges purely on the availability of resources. Yes, there are other oversight tools that do not require money. For example, when I was summoning ministries, departments, and agencies to parliament, You don't require money to do that. I did not pay AYV to cover the proceedings. It was out of national interest and out of the cost of national understanding that yes, everybody should understand what is happening in Parliament. Transparency should be rolled out to everybody, and you gave me the coverage. So that does not require money. But if you look at most of the critical acts or activities in Parliament, you realize that for you to be able to corroborate what you see in the report of the MDs, you would also have to move from Parliament to the field. For example, the Committee on Mines that is headed by the honorable leader of the C4C. There's no way you will perform oversight activities on mining companies in Freetown. You would have to go. So between 2018 and 2020, what Parliament will receive as oversight budgets cannot finance the activity of all the oversight committees. So what they will do is they will set up a priority scale in the leadership meeting, in their leadership meeting. And leadership of Parliament is a very easy makeup, opposition and government. So they will determine that, okay, from APC, you would give 3 committees that would go on oversight, outside oversight. SLP, you will give 3. C4C, you will give 1. Yeah. So those committees that will be selected as per their leadership would be allocated funds. The funds that will be allocated as at the time was 40 million. There are 16
committee.
So each committee, there are 16 members in the committee. And that 40 million should cover their hotel, should cover their feeding, should cover their mobility, same for the bus and the fuel that Parliament would allocate to them. So that's 40 million. If you divide 40 million by 16 members, it is 2,500,000 per member. I'm sure all of us have gone to the provinces. There is not a hotel or guest house in the provinces that you pay less than 400,000 per night. And we are talking about members of Parliament. It's not as if we want to amplify the position, but you cannot take a whole member of Parliament, take him to the least hotel or motel in the provinces, because you have to take care of the security of the MP and all. So the effectiveness of parliamentary oversight hinges on finances. That is one. Number 2, when these committees go on oversight, like he has said, for all these committees that I've called, I will tell you, and he can attest to it, not once have there been any report from the Committee on Youth. Not once have there been any report from the Committee on Labour. Not once have there been any committee.
And these are committees that received the 40 million you're talking about.
These are committees that have gone on oversight. These are some committees that have gone on oversight. Yes, there have been reports from other committees, information, from mines, from transport. But if you look at core committees, Labour is so critical to the sustainability of a country. There are a whole lot of Labour issues across this country. And if you don't get reports from Labour Committee, for example, what can Parliament do? The mistake of leadership is this. The standing order says that you should not announce a committee until a report is presented. Yes, there was a time when committees were about to announce. I moved a motion and he seconded that motion that this committee should not be announced until we receive the report. Okay, somebody was like, oh, the time was short. Let us wait so that at the time of the commencement of the next session, these committees would have presented their report. No report was presented. So in terms of parliamentary activity, yes, there's those parliamentary tools that you would use to perform oversight that you will not require money. But the greater portion of parliamentary oversight activity requires funds. In 2021, this current parliamentary administration pushed with the Ministry of Finance and they increased the oversight budget. So it means oversight budget has moved from 40 million to 60 million a committee. And even 60 million, if you divide 60 million by 16 people, this is 3,750,000. 3,750,000 for a member of parliament to go on oversight for 3-4 days in Matagelema, in Boedu. How can you perform an effective oversight? So we come back to the point we are in. Parliament is the hub for accountability.
But Honorable, as much as there's been, financial constraints, you keep mentioning about the amount, and now it's shared amongst members of parliament. But you have also mentioned that those who went on oversight have not presented reports.
And that is where parliament is at fault, because if you are a committee chairman, you've led a committee for a whole session. A whole session is like 1 year, and you are not able to present a report to the plenary, because let's not forget section 93 says the reports from committees are the basis that will inform legislation sometimes, not all the times. But principally, the essence of performing oversight is to correct anomalies in some of the laws. I was the first chairman for the Committee on Environment. We ran the committee for 6 months. It is our oversight activities in the Committee on Environment that initiated the process of reviewing the repeal and replacement of the Environment Protection Agency Act, the National Protected Air Authority Act, the movement of all of these agencies under the Ministry of Environment. Because it was effective, we presented the report, and that report has informed those legislations. So for me, the mistake or the challenge with the allocation of committees is that a committee should not be allocated to someone who has led that committee and has failed to present a report. But it's not as if Parliament as a whole have not presented reports. And let me conclude on this. He spoke on the issue of debating the Auditor General's report. When I moved the motion for the debate on the Auditor General's report, not a single member of the opposition was gutted enough to say I second the motion. It was the Honorable Paramount Chief Baiku that seconded my motion. I pushed. I came to this studio. We sat here. I was calling all over the place. Oh, it was not easy for me within the parliamentary circle. But at the end of the day, what did they do? Nothing. Prior to this parliament, the leader of the current running mate of the APC, who was the deputy speaker of the first parliament, he was the chairman for the PAC. He has never asked for, and he's a lawyer, and he knows the constitution is the grown-up. He spoke about laws. He should have insisted as a lawyer, better known, better educated, understanding the dictates of the constitution, to say subsection 5 of section 119 require parliament to debate the Auditor General report. There has never been a debate of the Auditor General's report since he, as a lawyer, a deputy speaker, someone that wants to be the vice president of this country, he was covering accountability. So let us be open and let us be transparent. Yes, there has been a challenge about the debate of the General's report. Like he said, it should not be continuous. It's a requirement in the constitution and we must enforce it. It doesn't matter who is there. But the precedent set by him is the precedent being followed. And he has also served for 5 years as leader of the opposition, not for once as he has for the debate of the General's report.
Okay, let's move to Honorable Fofana. The Parliament of SALONE 2021-2025 strategic plan clearly states how Parliament should strengthen oversight functions, the committees and all of that. In your own estimation, these 5 years, you mentioned you came from the NGO world, the business community before coming into politics. You think you've done enough? Because the strategic plan is saying oversight functions are very important to ensure that the executive arm of government is transparent and members of parliament will be able to hold them accountable for monies that they are receiving from the states. Do you think you've been able to do oversight function properly as members of parliament these 5 years?
Yeah, thank you very much. As you heard from my colleague, we are managing 2 committees. My leader was in charge of the Mines and Minerals Committee. And I must tell you that for the last 5 years, we have created huge impact in that committee because we have one of the good laws, today, which is the Mines and Minerals Act of the Mines and Minerals Development Act. Under the leadership of that young man, I think we can boast of CDAP agreement today of 1% instead of 0.01%. And if Tonkolile, that has one of the huge deposits of iron ore, can benefit last year 500 billion, and just in 1 year they have 20 billion and more, I think that has demonstrated indeed that this parliament, under that new act, a lot of goodies have happened. If you come to my committee, when I was the chairman for local government committee for 1 year, that was the time when government instituted this issue of general cleaning. We decided as parliament that it's good for us to see how these monies are being spent. And we collaborated with the police, the army. I can assure you that we went to Kabbalah. Even, I would say the entire headquarters was involved in the cleaning. They were not like harassing anybody because Parliament was here. We discussed with the paramount chiefs. Everybody was, on the streets doing the general cleanings together because we want to create that awareness for the value for money. We went to Bond Island. I mean the island, not the Bond Inland, the island during that time. We went to Kailan. We went to other districts, Kono, Makeni, and just within 3 months, the entire ministry joined, our campaign. And we put together our report. The report was handed over because we want to capitalize on that report to see how best we can have a national cleaning that will be carried out willingly by Salonians, meaning you don't need to pay, people to do their own national cleaning. And when I was chairman for economic development planning for the first 1 year, during the last government, EU, through NAO, gave this project for the Mabam Bridge, the Rogbere Bridge, the Moyamba Junction, Moyamba Town Road with 2 mega bridges, and also the Bo Gundama to Jendema Highway. When we took over, we discussed with Parliament leadership that some of these projects are not going well, and we want to know why. So leadership gave us their blessing. We sent a letter to EU through NAO. We sent a letter to the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development. We sent a letter to CSC, the construction company, that we want to know why these constructions have not yet completed. And they started something like 2 or 3 years ago. Well, for us, when they replied, the reply was not substantial enough because all the blame was around COVID-19, but ships were coming here with rice, with cement, with iron rod, so you can still bring your material to do the job. And Parliament provided the resources. So we talked to SLRA and the Ministry of Works. We came together. We did a 5 days oversight, a very strong one. We went to Rogbere Bridge, and after the meeting, we decided that we have given you 1 year, 6 months. As a country, we want to see this bridge be handed over in the next 1 year, 6 months. We went to Mabam Bridge, we did the same. We went to Moyamba Junction, Moyamba Town, we did the same. And we went up to Liberia. In fact, we crossed to Liberia. We discussed with the Liberian authorities that as Parliament and as a country, we want to see the Mano River Road being completed. All the support we need from you, don't accept our cement and our iron rod to go across the border. And in less than 2 years...
So it seems your own committee was actually working, right?
Well,
the Honorable Tawaj committee was working. Is it about leadership? Is it about the people who were leading the committees in Parliament? Or you were able to get funds other ways, to ensure that you go on oversight functions? Is it about that? Because he mentioned the other committees who've gone out, they've not presented reports. The other committees who could not go because they don't have funding.
Every year is the leadership responsibility to decide how many committees will go on oversight. Before the funding was increased, it was something like 10 committees that will go yearly. When I was in charge of local government, I benefited from that resources. And I laid a report for that particular oversight. We created a huge, impact. I was telling you about a fund we work with the EU to secure a 25 million euro fund, a 25 million euro fund for 4 councils: Bombali District Council, Kambia District Council, Kenema Kambia District Council, and Pujaun District Council. And even when I'm in charge of Economic Development Planning Committee, we still go on oversight. Whenever we have our oversight, we interact with those councils to see how those projects are going on. Well, coming from the NGO world, you have this issue of monthly report or 2 weekly report. So we already have this leadership in us. So going extra mile as a member of parliament representing more than 60,000 people or a whole district and under more or less a very strict leader like Honorable Sir Emerson Lamina, you have to go beyond the expectation of, in fact, even parliament. And what was very unique after that engagement, when we came back, we discussed with SLRA because we went together with SLRA and we share our resolutions with SLRA, they give us something like 3 engineers. They were with us for 5 days. And we decided to do more reports, meaning we give 1 report to NAO, we give 1 report to the Minister of Planning and Economic Development for the ministry, and we engaged the EU ambassador. We also presented 1 report to the EU ambassador with our resolution that these are the time frame we have discussed with CSC, and we need these roads. And proudly, I will sit here and say, we are enjoying the Mabam, the Roberry Bridge, because I passed there to go to my district.
Before July comes in, so you proudly say,
yeah,
you performed your function.
Absolutely.
You did oversight to the best of your ability.
Absolutely.
You'll say that.
Absolutely.
And you, generally, do you think Parliament itself generally did well with oversight function?
What I want to say, this has to do with each and every membership or leadership in each committee. I'm a member of the Water Resources Committee because water is my background. When I was in the NGO world, 10 years, I was just doing water, right? I am part of the Labour Committee, but the chairman of the Labour Committee, I mean, it's just like the speaker. He has the final decision when it comes to oversight, when it comes to activity around oversight. What I would say, under my leader, Honorable Sayam Hassan Lamina, we have played our best to make sure we represent our mantra, nation first.
Okay.
So I would proudly tell you that my last 5 years in Parliament, I have laid more than 4 reports in my Economic Development Planning Committee and in Local Government, committee as chairman.
Okay, over to Honorable Abdul Karim Kamara. You've listened to Honorable Tawa Conte, and you were smiling while he was speaking. So you can't get me; you're a little bit far away from me. So at this point, earlier I asked you personally if you feel satisfied. Now, as a whole, as one of the main opposition political parties in Sierra Leone, as a party, do you feel satisfied again with some of these oversight committees that he clearly made mention that, of course, some of your colleagues rather are heading?
It's rather unfortunate. One of the things we need to build on as young people is not just the reality of facts, but when we come out to speak on issues of national concerns that have to build our nation, sincerities of a high essence. When we are the force, in fact, the issue of debating the audit report has not been, the motion has not been moved once. In fact, we've had up to 3 times it has been moved. And the recent of last year was moved by Honorable Cherikoko and was seconded by Honorable Kande Umkela. The records are there. When Honorable Tawa moved the first motion in the world, is here telling the world that the motion was seconded by Cole. Little is he failing to realize that he moved the motion. I second the motion before Honorable by Cole put on the mic to raise his voice on it. And it was himself and the studio at AYV. We came here to discuss the issue of the audit service report to be debated. Himself, and I was here with him. We moved the motion and we went almost to many other stations with him. But when I was talking, it sounds my voice from a political lens. No, I am being factual and I am talking on moral grounds. That what he wants to see in Parliament is not what we saw in the last 5 years. If he says contrary, meaning his first move going out in the media to speak on issues around Parliament were personally motivated and not nationalistic. But let me come to the point. It talks about the strength of committees. When committees are being chaired, they're being chaired on strength. Let Honorable Tawa give me one example of a committee that is being chaired on strength. Maybe what he is saying is, what the standing orders ought to say is, committees, members of a committee, if we are going to go into a committee 16, every political party should be represented as their percentage in the world of Parliament, meaning in almost all committees. By the 2018, we entered Parliament, we were supposed to have more numbers in every committee compared to the numbers that we are supposed to have. And we are supposed to add more committees compared to the number of committees that we are supposed to add. But that was not the case. But let me go to issues. I don't want to drag this all-important national debate to an APC and SLP debate. I ought to have a debate here in which we tell the people what we ought to see
And surely, I am sure he will make it to the 6th parliament, just like I will. And we tell the people what kind of parliament they want to see in that next parliament, what was wrong in this parliament, and what we want to see and what we want people to expect from us. When Honorable Musa Fofana was talking about what he has achieved, I bet him that all of what he said here has never been laid in the well of parliament. What you use as members of parliament are personal lobbying skills. You understand? When we go around people to get what we want to happen is different from what you presented in the well of parliament. Yes, Honorable Tawa was highlighting, and skillfully what he has done is he tried to highlight committees that are headed by opposition that did not laid reports in the well. I want to say to him that if we're going to look at some of the challenges of oversight, one thing he ought to have said here clearly that has also been a militating factor is most times, like for us in opposition, when you call ministers, they will not even come. He knows of the situation of Abdukagbo and the Minister of Youth Affairs. He's well aware of that. He knows of the issues of Laimara and that of Sengepo. He knows of them. But again, even within them, in the opposition bench, most of the ministers are also party functionaries. The case of Kekua Vandi and the Minister of Energy. Kekua is a member of parliament in the South, and the Minister of Energy is the regional chairman, the Southern region. How do you call that person to come to account for anything? So the situation is very, very tight. You talk about resources. Even when the resources were increased, what he was calculating was just what was supposed to be given to members of parliament. We move with journalists who are also part of the team. And it's out of what we have that we have to augment them. They are human beings. We have to buy fuel out of this. So even the resources allocation were not just minimal, but they were not good for purpose. And if you go on oversight, 80% of all the reports he's saying, even those that were tabled, were only tabled, but we are not allocated dates for debates. So for me, the entire thing about oversight, if I'm going to rate it, 10% will even be a very good mark.
But the Honorable Tawa is saying he singled out committees of which members of the opposition APC are heads, right? And he's saying your colleagues have not, who are chairmen of these committees, have not presented reports. They've gone on oversight. They've collected resources. They've gone on oversight, right? And they've not presented reports.
You know,
that the claim is making.
It is so disingenuous from his own side, because he's been the chairman of almost all committees.
Are you chair of any of the committees?
I have been a member, a deputy chairman of Youth Affairs. I've been a deputy chairman of local government. Did you present any reports? And that's what I'm saying. I am being very factual here. Yeah, Mr. Ba. When you go to those oversight reports, you do findings. You have committee sittings on many other issues. You have your findings. You do your reports. First of all, you have to meet with the ministry in charge to have their own sides of the story. If by the time you do so, we investigated the issue of this car wash. The time I was in the deputy chairman with Youth Affairs. After all, we went all around this country. We talked with the contractors. We evaluated the project. We saw the lapses in the project. In fact, they were poorly built. Finances that were given were also mismanaged. We went to the youth in agriculture project. It was badly mismanaged. And we came with those reports to Parliament, and we called on the minister responsible to come and talk to us before we finally do the project. As I am speaking, that minister has never appeared before that committee.
But one could imagine you can still present the reports and say the minister refused to speak to us, but this is our report, these are our findings, and this is what we...
And that's where the trouble is, Lamrana. When you have those reports, first of all, again, the reports go through the parliamentary administration. Like he quoted the Honorable Agriculture Committee. One of the most effective committee knows that have presented reports in the world is that of Agriculture Committee. But also, he has never told us what the Committee on Energy that is headed by Kekua Vandi, as they have never laid a report. It is a situation of almost all committees, including the committee he has laid, he is hiding, has never laid a report in the parliament that has been debated. I am talking holistically on Parliament. I'm not figuring out what CPOC was supposed to do, what NGC was supposed to do in their committee, or what SNPP failed to do. I am saying overall, in terms of oversight, in terms of the reports of oversight, none of those reports have been laid in Parliament, and I have called on the Speaker severally to say, even in the with trade, when we had the issue of the dollar was going up and the pricing formula was just moving week on weekly basis, we called NRA, we called the Ministry of Finance, we called the traders representation. All of those reports have never been debated. So the situation is not whether it is APC, whether it is SLPP, until as young politicians we are sincere to ourselves and accept responsibility of what we failed to do because the leadership of Parliament has not allocated the required time. How many times have we written question tag? I remember when the bus saga came, when the buses came, I wrote to the Speaker for us to have a situation of having the Minister of Transport to the well of Parliament. As I speak up to date, that question tag has never been brought to the well. Okay. So it is not what I don't want to narrow this debate to what SFP did not do, what APC would have not done. I am saying as members of Parliament, we have never debated, we have never presented those reports, they've never been debated, and the Speaker and the leadership of Parliament has never created time for that.
Thank
That's
you
what
very
I'm
much.
saying.
Are there clarifications you want to make, please?
Yeah, first he said, I think the whole world know I'm not a chairman of a committee. The last committee I chaired, I resigned because of the...
You are deputy chairman of lands.
No, let me finish.
Just like myself.
No, let me finish.
Come on.
When you are,
no, accept it. You are a deputy chairman.
Let me finish.
No, you are deputy chairman of Plans Committee, and I was a member of that committee.
Let me finish.
When you are
speaking, I give you all the time. If you can give me the time, I tell you.
You know,
I am not the person that comes to public. They say who comes to equity must come with clearance. And he knows that in the standing order, there's no provision for deputy chairman. So the committee is as good as the chairman. The Honorable Fofana make mention of it. The standing order gives the chairman the power, the sole power to sit and lead the committee in the status of the speaker. That is why the same provision in the standing order, SO 42, that guides the speaker's decision to be final, it is the same provision that guides the chairman in committee. So I'm not the chairman of any committee. The only committee I've chaired for 6 months is the Committee on Environment, and we presented a report. And that report, I have already highlighted the outcome of that report. The Committee on Transparency, I lasted for less than a month. It's a public secret. And after that period, I was moved 4 times around Parliament. I was moved from my seat to the next seat on the same row. The other week, I was moved to the seat at the back, and later I found myself right in front.
So was that just because you wanted to be transparent and accountable?
As members of Parliament, we are representing people. Section 97 says we are representing not only our constituency, but the people of Sierra Leone. And if we are to represent them, we have to come out in public and be honest, and be factual. This conversation is not narrowed down to political parties. It is saying that the inefficiency of oversight is purely the responsibilities of members of Parliament and the leadership of Parliament, if there are any inefficiency. Because the standing order makes provision, the Constitution makes provision that before committees are announced for the succeeding session, there must be a report. Whatever comes out of the report must be tabled. But the leadership of Parliament is not partisan, it's not one party driven. It is total representation of all the parties. So if they as leaders, they sit before announcing committees, names of members of Parliament to head committees does not come from the sky. It comes from the leadership of the various political parties. So if a member is heading a committee, whether it's the Committee on Transport, whether it's the Committee on Water Resources, whether it's the Committee on Energy, if that member has not presented a report, then it behoves leadership to know that this person does not have what it takes to lead a committee. He should be removed, somebody should replace him, and he must produce a report. Because at the end of the day, whether the amount that we receive is small, big, or fit to do the job, at the end of the day, we are receiving taxpayers' money. For whatever quantum it is, we have to show up. So what I'm saying is that in all of what he has said, I did not finger point these committees because they are in the opposition. There are committees in the government bench as well. I have not presented a report. I have not seen a report from the Committee on Trade. I would have to say I have not seen a report from the Committee on Trade. I have not seen a report from the Committee on Finance. So it's not as if I'm finger pointing because this one, like agriculture, I'm a member of the agriculture committee and we have never presented a report.
Okay.
And that's the fact. But the point is, if we are to run committees, I have not seen a report from the Committee on Works. I have not. I don't know. But at the end of the day, these are critical committees. And he said something that we have to hammer home. We have less than 2 weeks. We cannot change that now. But that is something that we have to drive home in the next parliament. When reports are presented, it behoves the leadership. We must
So
not.
are you declaring now of going to the next parliament?
Oh, I'm coming. I'm coming.
We need to take a few messages quickly. We need to take a few messages as we round up. This is a discussion that will definitely continue. It's part of assessing parliament in the last 5 years. So on Wake Up Saloon and different programs, we'll be having you members of parliament to come and talk about your functions, representing your people and oversight and all of it. So let's take a few messages. I have this one from TJ Mans, and it says, Honorable Musa, how do you feel about the backfiring of the Parliament Act 2023, which you piloted? Another, and he's saying also, Honorable AKK, how comes your committee has not tabled a report as opined by Honorable Tawa? I think he has responded to that. And the final one is, Honorable Tawa, don't you think you're being economical with the truth on the lack of debate on the Aegis report? That's the message I'll take. Do you have another one?
No, I don't.
Okay, let's go to Honorable Tawa, Honorable Fofana, Honorable AKK. Then we'll
on the Aegis report, I have said it, I will say it, and I will keep saying it until we get to that point wherein we observe the dictates of subsection 5 of section 119. He said he was the one that seconded the motion. I beg to differ. That is in the record. It was signed. It was a signed motion submitted to the leadership of parliament, submitted to the office of the clerk. I signed, and the Honorable Baiku
we'll check
signed.
the answer.
The answers can prove that. And he also said, let me finish. He also said that the second motion that was moved by the leader of the opposition. No, it was moved by the Honorable Dr. Kande Umkela, and it was seconded by the Honorable Whip of the opposition, the Honorable Hassan Sisi. But these are minor because there are so many things being done. About the facts, about the Aegis report. The Aegis report is a age-old problem. And if we can, as parliament and as a nation, pay attention to that report, I tell you, the recovery we will make from that report will be sufficient to do a lot of social activities in this country.
Okay, Honorable Fofana.
Yeah, thank you very much. My colleague was talking about reports being laid and reports being debated.
The welfare you laid.
I just want to say, yeah, I'm coming to the welfare. I just want to say we have worked very strongly with the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development, as we did with the Ministry of Local Government. And I must say, I am proud to say 2 MPs from this 5th Parliament, Honorable Zainab Tawali and Honorable Fofana, we are members to the EU technical team whenever they are discussing development around Sierra Leone. It's because of our hard work. Coming to the Parliament bill, I have no regret piloting that bill. And in fact, I am still pushing or lobbying with leadership. I want that bill to come back Thursday because I want to continue to see. I'm a parliamentarian and at the same time, I'm a businessman. I have been in the NGO world for 10 years, but we have lost 6 parliamentarians this 5th Parliament, and all MPs are still dying.
Sierra Leoneans are dying too.
Of course. Well, the point at issue,
the cost.
Aren't you concerned as well about the Sierra Leoneans who cannot afford?
Of course. We are doing our best to make sure that when the committee go on the whole house, we can ratify. We can fix what we want to fix. And we are doing this bill in the interest of Sierra Leoneans too. Because the MPs are their MPs. This is not my personal
How about the kids
opinion.
who you see every day on social media, their families begging for them to be treated either at local, nationally here or be flown out of the country?
As MPs, we are contributing also to the health of our constituents.
Okay.
We are doing a lot. I have 9 social projects in my constituency. I have 6 educational projects in my constituency. Yeah, these are projects we built by ourselves.
Okay, Honorable, we need to round up. These are issues we'll be debating. We'll follow up on you.
We'll come on the welfare,
pushing that.
No problem.
No problem. Honorable AKK, quickly and finally, you have a question, but I think you answered that already. But quickly, I want to ask generally, as we close, do you hold on your position, hold on to your position that this parliament has not done well with oversight in the last 5 years?
If I am to rate this parliament on oversight, 10% will be the best I give them. And
out of how much? 10 out of 100?
Out of 100, 10.
Okay.
If I had 10, I give, because Musa Fana has said he's done a lot and I have not seen the report. So based on his own testimony,
your report has not come as well.
I have made all my reports. But on a more serious note, if I was Musa Fofana with the welfare bill, I would have dropped that bill and I would have come out open to the people of Sierra Leone to apologize.
No, you should have.
It was a mistake. Let me land.
No, the truth is, they should come out.
Let me land.
They are hiding under the cloth.
Can I land?
Find time to come and
please, just give me 5
More than
seconds.
60% of the
Musa Fofana is misrepresenting us as members of parliament on that bill, and I demand him to come out to the public to apologize that such a bill is not timely. In 2018, when we supported that bill to 2019, I still say the foreign exchange rate was far below than what it is now. The wage bill was not where it is now. The cost of living was better off. The wage, the minimum wage was reflectively better than it is now. So I am saying, if we are to push that bill, what we first of all need to push is a citizens' welfare bill before we talk about parliamentary welfare bill. It's a shame to talk about you bringing that bill again to the world.
We'll definitely call you guys to come and discuss that bill. But finally, Honorable Fofana, on oversight, he has rated 10 over 100. What will be your own rating?
Well, I must say it has to do with individual leadership and individual responsibility. The leadership of parliament is across party line. I have my leader, Honorable Sayama Lamina. Everything we have done from the C4C angle has been under the thorough supervision of our leader. So you can go to the Hansards and see. You can go to EU and find out.
Parliament has done much in oversight?
85% for me, as long as I know, from the Committee on Mines and Mineral Resources, from the committee.
No, I'm not asking about what you as C4C did. I'm asking generally as Parliament.
I have seen a lot of oversight around other committees.
Okay.
A lot of oversight.
Okay.
So for me, the 85%.
85%. Honorable Tower.
Like I said, he has seen a lot of oversight. I have seen a lot of summoning, but I have not seen reports for those summons. But I think there are other indicators that would come to play in rating parliament in terms of oversight. So I will still hold on to my position that I held on to on Sunday, that I will give parliament 50.
50. Yeah. That's a fair ranking rating for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks very much, gentlemen, honorable members of parliament, for joining us this morning. Like I mentioned, we'll be calling on you to come and talk to your people, the people who voted for you, as parliament will be closing on the 25th, right? So we're doing these sessions and these programs in our different programs as well to discuss oversight and the other functions as members of parliament in our programs. Well, thanks very much for joining us this morning. It's a pleasure having you guys.
Thank you.
Well, this is where we end today's edition of Wake Up Sierra Leone. My quote for today says, you are either running from a vision, going on a mission, or burning with a passion. If you do not belong to any of these, life is reduced to a burden. And it comes from David Olanipo Adeyepo, a Nigerian preacher, Christian author, businessman, architect, and the founder of the Living Faith Church Worldwide.
Many thanks to our guests who joined us this morning from ECSL and Parliament, and to you, our viewers and listeners, for being with us these 2 hours. Thanks to the production team, and thanks to our sponsor, Okel Commercial Bank, for their support to the program. Wake Up Sierra Leone returns tomorrow. Till then, we have been your presenters. I am Amadou Lamganaba.
And I am Zulayatu Hamid. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah. Talking Point Platform. TTPTV. Oh, yeah. Unale we pledge with love and loyalty to we sweet, sweet mama salute. Now we all come together as one. For tomorrow, now we gon' make salute. Talking Point Platform. For news everything now we country salute. For education, entertainment. TV. We put enough Tanga one inside Sierra Leone like a big quantity. We breeze not a shit, TTP TV.